right, we're here with Dan Mannarino, who is one of the newscasters on the Pix 11 Morning News. Why don't you give us a little background on when you got started in news?
I got started in news back in the early 2000s. I started at New York 1 as a desk assistant while I was still in college. Worked my way up in New York 1, left there, and went to FiOS 4 News in New Jersey for 2 years as a one-man band reporter, meaning I had to trek around with my tripod and my camera and set up my own lights and do everything myself and edit it and make it look like it's the job of 4 people. And from there, I got hired at Pix 11.
Now, when you were working in Jersey, did you commute in from the city? Did you move to Jersey?
I actually grew up in New Jersey, so when I was living in New York at the time, and then I realized it was too much of a commute to go back and forth, especially if the story was in South Jersey. It's a 3-hour drive to South Jersey. So I moved to New Jersey, moved to Rutherford, New Jersey, stayed there for about a year, and when I got hired back at Pix, I said, all right, it's time to go back into the city.
Now, when did you first decide you wanted to become a journalist? Was it something you knew in high school, or was it something you decided to pursue once you got to college?
Yeah, when I went to college to major in law, pre-law, and I had all intentions of going to law school, and I took the LSAT exam, and then I took an elective, a TV news elective, and loved it, and said, okay, maybe I'm going to change my career path, and got bit by the news bug, if you want to call it that, and the rest is history.
Does your law background help you when you're reporting at all?
You know, I took a lot of pre-law classes, so it helps with like the, wording of certain things, especially if you're doing a police case or a court case. It does help a little bit, but I don't think I got too deep in the law background to. I still need to check with our lawyers if I have something that's a question and make sure everything's status quo.
Now, being on New York 1, that's kind of skewed a little bit younger, right? And do you feel like you relate to younger viewers? Since you're younger, do you slant your news stories towards a younger audience for them to, relate to them and to watch, or it's kind of hard to do?
I was at New York when I wasn't on air.
Okay.
I left New York one right before, I was doing everything up to producing, and then it was time to go.
Okay.
But I do feel that I try to structure my reports in terms of layman's terms, like as if I'm talking to a person. I feel a lot of reporters don't do that. They kind of just do this, the track and then followed by a sound bite. And I kind of try to structure the pieces geared toward an audience that it makes it sound like I'm having a conversation with them. And the feedback is pretty positive. I mean, I do get things back, emails from viewers that say, I feel like you're talking to me, and that's the goal.
Now, when you were either at FiOS 1 or Pix 11, your current station, was there one story that really deeply affected you that you didn't know if you were going to be able to get through it, or do you have a way to put it aside and just simply report?
Okay, 2 things. The newsroom. Do you watch the newsroom?
No, I don't watch that.
The new HBO show, The Newsroom. I started watching that, and they did a segment about the death of Osama bin Laden. Now, I was working at FiOS at the time. I was living in New York, and they called me up and said, hey, you got to rush down to the World Trade Center site. It's time Osama bin Laden's been killed. I reported the news that day as if it was any other story, and it didn't really hit me that I was reporting on the death of Osama bin Laden until this year when I was watching the newsroom episode and they were making a very big deal about it, and I said, God, it really wasn't a big story. But recently we actually interviewed a mother who just found out there's a cold case. Her daughter had died 20 years ago. They finally solved the case, and we were interviewing her and started to cry. And a lot of people have cried on camera before in front of me, and I just reached across, touched her leg, and it was like that human. I realized, okay, I'm not just a reporter, I'm also, this is human connection that sometimes you're not supposed to make as a reporter. But those are the kinds of stories that sometimes you got to say, okay, I have emotions too.
And is there a story, maybe like a human interest story that you're really dying to cover, that you would, that you have an idea that you'd like to do?
I love environmental stories.
Okay.
I never thought I would. There was a story about 16 girls up in Rochester that were all twitching. They all had this mysterious twitching disorder. We went up there with this big investigation and found out it was really an environmental background story that we found about a toxic spill. Since then, in February, anything that's like toxic or there's some sort of environmental story going on in our area about Superfund sites or anything, I want to do it. I want to get my hands dirty, try to get the EPA to do something about it. Those kind of stories, which I never thought I'd be interested in.
Yeah.
Have kind of sparked my interest in it.
So if we see you start twitching on the news, we're gonna know you have been out there too long.
I came back from spending 3 days up there, and I didn't drink the water. I was getting a little nervous up there.
So advice would you give to somebody who's going to school to be a journalist, or somebody who wants to pursue on-air reporting? Obviously, you have
Don't
to
do it.
Yeah, don't take my job. Obviously, you have to have a certain personality for it.
Yeah, I think you have to really have a genuine care and connection for people, and to be able to tell a story and to tell a story well. Now, I never thought I was a writer until I started writing news stories and really got into it. But I say this to our interns, and every year, you have to want to do it and want to really give up a lot of your time to invest in stories. It's not just certainly a 9-to-5 job where you come in, you do the story, 1, 2, 3, 5 o'clock news hits, and you go home. A lot of these stories involve investigating, traveling, leaving your family and friends for a little while to say, okay, I have to work overtime today and finish the story. And it takes a toll on your social life, but you have to be willing to do that.
Now,
it is rewarding.
In terms of the type of news agency that you want to work for, I know Pix 11's newscasters happen to have a very fun rapport with each other.
We do.
Especially in the morning.
We do.
And the evening ones also, Greg Mockers, fun
Greg
guy.
Mocker.
But also ABC has a fun morning crew. Is that important to you to have kind of a light balance to your reporting as well?
I think there's a mixture of fun mixed with professionalism, and I like to mix the two. I don't want to be too fun, where it's like if I get put on a serious story, I'm not taken as a serious guy. But I think it's important to have the balance of fun, show some personality, and put some of yourself into your reports. Even if it is a really serious story, I think putting yourself in the story and your personality into it really is what makes the story yours and unique.
And what do you think makes you relatable to viewers, Pix 11? What makes you relatable?
Relatable?
To the viewers?
Oh boy, I don't know. I guess it took me a while to find the niche of really getting like a human connection. And I think that the fact that I do show some sort of emotion towards what I'm doing, and I try to put my personality in the stories and make the person want to listen to me, listen to this voice over and over, day to day. But relatable is, I'm down to earth, and I want the person to turn on the TV and say, I know him, and I can stop him on the street, I can talk to him, or I know what he's saying, and I know he's talking to me, and I have an issue, I want him to look into it. And I've been getting that recently, a lot of these emails, since I started doing these help me stories too. People saying, hey, can you help me out? You seem like a guy that really cares about.
And now at Pix, most of the time you're out in the field, but you have had an opportunity to be in the studio. Would you like to do more on camera at the desk, or do you like going out to the field?
Oh boy, that's the question that everybody asks.
Yeah.
I think the long-term goal would be to be an anchor indoors, but for now, I love being on the street. I love seeing people. I love listening to people. I love talking to them, and it's different. Every day you're in a new location. I saw parts of the city I never thought I saw. Parts of Jersey, Connecticut, Long Island. There's just something about being out in the field and being out during the day and seeing people on a day-to-day basis that really makes your day go by fast and makes the job enjoyable.
And what is a typical day like for you? I know you're on the early show, so I mean you're probably up at 2 in the morning, right?
Alarm goes off around 3 something. Hit snooze a few times.
Yeah.
Out the door in the studio by 5, and our Pix News goes on at 4 a.m. But I have an interesting shift because I'm doing these help me stories now that I'll be on at 7 and 8. Then I go out. I'll be in the studio usually 7 and 8. Go out and shoot a story in the field for the 5 p.m. show or for the following morning. So bedtime, I gotta go.
Yeah, it's like
no, bedtime. Hopefully we'll be in bed by 8:30, 9 o'clock. It doesn't usually happen. It's kind of lie there, for a while, saying, all right, go to bed.
So if you got thrown into an anchor position on the morning news show, you'd have to be up at like 2, right?
Oh yeah,
2:30?
If you're an anchor on the morning show, you are in 2 a.m. You are in makeup, getting hair and makeup done, reading your scripts, and you're in front of the camera by 3:50, getting ready for the 4 o'clock show.
You'll stick to the field reporting for now, right?
I'll stick to the field reporting and maybe back to the 5 p.m. show one day.
Yeah.
I love the morning show.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time, Jess. I really appreciate it.
Great.